Hello again! Well, today's video is really long because I'm showing you all of the steps that are involved in making this room box. And this desk here is just one of the pieces I put in there. But before that, I had to make the room box. So let's delve into that. So today I'll continue with my room boxes series, and I'll be using this frame for that, which I got, what was it, 2 weeks ago? The first one is this one. You saw that. 2 weeks ago I made that one. A very simple one. And today I'm going to be making a room box for this one. Now, I thought, because of the wood, I thought it would be nice to make a wooden frame. So I got into my cellar and I got out this wine, well, what would you call, box, I would call it. It was probably a gift, maybe for Christmas, I don't know. It's wine of South Africa. I haven't looked inside, it hasn't been opened yet. It says Suidkus. I think it means South Coast. South African is very closely related to Dutch. I think it was based on the Dutch language, or it was the Dutch settlers over there who, you know, in time, over the hundreds of years, changed the language. This in Dutch would mean, well, actually that the I and the U are switched around. And it should be a Z instead of an S. So it means south, and kus, actually that means kiss in Dutch. But because they often dropped T, so in Dutch it would be kust, which means coast. So I think it means south coast. Anyway, language tutorial over. I will have to open it up. I need a screwdriver or something like that. There. Oh, I wanted to show you that it almost fits in here. Almost. It's just, that's a shame, but it's a tiny bit too wide. So I'll have to do some cutting. And of course it's too high. It's too long. So I'll have to cut it off. So, but if you don't have a saw, or don't want to do any sawing, you could of course just use the box itself. It's not very deep. I hope I'm not going to break the wood too much. There's two in there. White and red. I don't know anything about wine. I don't drink. So I have no idea what this might taste like. Well, anyway, so I won't be needing those. I'll take those away. 2009. That either means it's been in there since 2009, or it's just the vintage that's, you know, you can still buy wines that are older. So I've got a bit of wood here if I need it, and but I wanted to go and use this box. Get rid of that. Oh, more wood. Can use that. I don't throw this away because you can always use it, even though it's got these big old knots. You can still, there's still parts of it that could be useful, or just as a wall or something like that. So I have to get rid of this and take these while I'm at it. that was a lot more work than I thought. Trying to get those out. Especially that last one. It was in so tight. I couldn't get it out. Anyway, now I will have to, like I said, cut it down a little bit because it's it doesn't fit into the frame. I wanted to show you how to do that, to make a room box and put it inside the frame. But it's just a little bit too wide, so I have to cut it down. And it's got some really nice nails here, so I'll have to take that off somehow. And those I can leave. There's no nails in the back, but at the bottom there are. I have to determine which side I would like to use, is it top or bottom. Actually, that looks quite nice. I'll use that. And the top, because that has a nice, well, you know, it's a bit rustic, but it's still, there's a lot of knots on there. So I'll use, this is the top. So I'll cut this down a little bit. So I'll have to take out these nails from these two. And I'll have to take those out as well. Well, I might as well take the whole box apart because I have to cut down so much. So, try that. Try to get my screwdriver in here again. Now, of course, you don't need to use a frame on here. You can just use it like that. And then you could just put a little bit of glass in front of it if you wanted to close it off, or you could just leave it and use it as a box. I mean, it's that simple. And then put some wallpaper in, whatever. Again, like the IKEA room boxes, they're not very deep, although this one is deeper than the Boss, what was it? The one that I've got it right here. That is the depth. It's not very deep, so this one is a little bit deeper, which is good, because then at least you'll be able to fit a chair in there, or, you know, something, a little table perhaps. So I'll have to take it apart. Be careful so you don't want the wood to split. But you know, you have to do a little bit of pushing and pulling and hammering. Now, I have to do that on all sides. I mean, it takes a little bit of effort, but it doesn't take too long. A claw hammer is very handy so that you can pull those nails out. I'll continue with those sides. So as soon as your nail is sticking out a bit, like that, then you can hook the claw of your claw hammer on there. You need a little bit of space. There, I got it. And then you can pull it. Of course, when you pull it, you have to be careful that you don't damage the wood with your hammer. Because it can leave dents. There. And the third one needs a little bit more space. That's not enough to hook my hammer on. So I'll tap it a little bit more. There. And I can push it back and expose the nail. And then hook my claw hammer on there. And then pull it out carefully. There. Now, it's quite normal that these nails will be bent when you do this. So I may not be able to reuse them unless I can straighten them up a little bit. Because I do like them. They're quite nice. So we'll see. And I'll do the rest as well. So I've taken off one side entirely, and I tried to take the bottom off. Same system. They're in so tight, I couldn't get the nails up. And I don't want to split the wood. So what I'll do is I'll just cut this off on my saw. And at the right length. Like, okay. So I'll need to look on the inside, because I'm going to mount it on the inside of this one. So I'll just mark that, and then I'll just cut this off. Here, that's a bit difficult. Again, I've said this so many times. I've got a camera in front of my face, so it's really not that easy to look at what I'm doing. So if you're doing it yourself, you can just hold it the way you like it and mark it correctly. So, but anyway, that's the mark. Now I have to cut that across and across the bottom as well. Right, so where's the mark? Oh yeah, here. Okay, so I'll cut it a little bit wider first. So there's the mark. You can just about see it, right? On camera. Just about right there. Ear defenders. I'm not good with noise, so. And my dust extractor. Okay. Now. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Right, so I've cut the ends off, and I've cut the side panel to the correct size as well. So now, in principle, it should fit the length anyway, because it's too wide. Lengthwise, it's okay. The only thing now is that it is too wide, so I have to cut a tiny bit of the ends, or the sides, this side, and of the other one. So I'll do that as well. should be about right. Because the blade is round and at the top you can only see the bit sticking out from the top, but at the bottom there's still a bit of blade there, so you always have, you're cutting more than you're seeing, so you have to, you know, you can see here at the bottom it stops here in the wood. The top, it stops here. So I mean that bit, that's like 1.5 centimeters or something like that, or maybe even more, is what you don't see of the cut. You have to take into account. So I have to cut that by hand to get that off, and then the side should fit in there. Because I just cut that bit off. So yeah, there. Quickly cut that off with a handsaw, and now that fits. So those nails can go back in, and now I have to finish the top as well, and I have to take those nails out of, because this is the top that goes in here. I have to cut that down a little bit as well. I'll just leave that so I know how much to take off. And then take that board off, cut that off, and fix that in place. Now here I'm not going to try and save that piece of wood. I couldn't get the nails out first, so I'll just be a bit rough. Try a little bit harder. Yeah. I hit it with my hammer and the wood split, but well, I don't need this anyway, so just take the nails out and then I'll saw that down. I just wanted to show you this. Even though I use dust extraction, I'm still covered in sawdust. I should really be wearing a mask. Yeah. Right. So cut that one to size as well, so that fits in there. And now I have to nail them back in place, and I'll drill a few holes because of course I cut that side, those sides down to cut them smaller, so the nail holes have disappeared. So I'll just drill a few holes in there before I hammer it, because if you hammer the nail straight into the wood, especially this type of wood, it might easily split. So it's easier to, or better to just drill a hole, a pilot hole first, and then it should fit in here. Yes, perfect. Now you do, because the top and the bottom were thicker than the sides, it does show up. Doesn't matter in this case because it came with this beautiful, there. So put that in there. Like that, and we'll have a lovely room box. Now the inside is quite coarse. You can just sand that down, like I said. I think I said that in the beginning. Sand it down, put wallpaper on it. Just going to straighten those nails because I'm going to reuse them on the sides of the box. good. Right, well that's finished. I nailed in all the side panels with the old nails that worked perfectly, and nailed on the back, and it's finished. I still have to sand it a little bit. I'm not going to do too much with it because it's a wine box. I'm going to leave it fairly rough. You could stain it on the outside. I'm not going to do that because the frame I'm using is also has quite light wood, and I'm going to keep it like that. You could paint it. I wouldn't really do that because you would really have to prep the wood really well if you paint it. And with this type of wood, well, I don't know, unless your box is really nice, but this one's got big knots, so you'd have to fill it, and, you know, I'm not going to do that. Now mine obviously has the matting in there, and the glass will go in later. Like that. It fits right in there. Now, how do you attach it? You could just leave it like this because it's not going to fall out. But what I've done, I've got one room box. It's the Psyche room box, which is made the same way. So the box is mounted inside the frame behind it with matting. And I put some magnets on the outside of the box. Let me just see if I have some magnets. I'll go check my stash. I found some. And I don't know, I think they're cabinet magnets. So these are I don't know where they came from. I had them. So what I'll do, I'll just mount these on here. Like that. And then you can just click the frame on and it will stay in place. Right, when you measure out where you want to put the magnets, don't forget to put the glass in as well, and the matting, because it raises up the room box a little bit, so that changes the position of where your magnets go. So if you don't put the glass and the matting in, it drops down a little bit further. So then the magnet would be in a different spot, basically. So, but well, that's finished. I think it looks great and it works perfectly. It's so easy. I still have to put the glass in and fold these little thingies back that hold the glass in. Now they're kind of in the way, but still I can just, it just snaps back in, which is great. There's a couple of things I have to say. In this, if you mount your box like this inside the frame, of course you can see that the frame itself is thicker and is up higher than the box. So when you put it down, it leans backwards a little bit. So it's like a photo frame. It sort of leans a little bit. See, leans back a little bit. Instead of standing straight up, it leans back a little bit. I quite like that. But it is something that you have to keep in mind. If you don't want that, you can just put little feet under here, or just pack it with a little bit of wood that's the same thickness as the frame, so it raises this bit of the floor as well. The other thing is, and that's just me, because oops, I didn't have, because I used these magnets, I didn't have any other. I think I do have other ones, but I don't know where they are. These big ones. I didn't have any screws that were short enough for the wood. So they are coming through the wood. So I have to cut those off, and I'll do that a little bit later. But in your case, you may just glue them, or you probably have different magnets than I if you're going to use magnets at all. But that's just, you know, what I had, what I have in my stash. And, you know, as I want to make a really cheap room box, I'm just going to use what I have. So I'll cut those off later. So then just snap that back. And now I can start working on the inside. Still have to sand this a little bit, but I'll do that. I have to think about the inside. I was thinking of doing something really rustic because of the rough wine box, and not do anything to the interior. But I don't have many rustic pieces. I have a few, but not a lot. So there's not much I can do. At short notice, I would have to take much longer. The other thing I thought, I have these stairs made from birch wood, and I thought maybe I could make a little flooring of them, like a herringbone pattern or something. I always use really nice woods and got everything to size, but I thought I didn't get them for that, but I was looking. They were laying here on my desk all these 2 weeks, and I saw them and I thought, well, you know, that it might look really nice. I don't know. It's not a very big space, so it won't take too long. I think I'll have plenty of them. And these were, I don't remember the price. I don't think they were €1, even less than €1. So I might get more of those. If it works out really nice, I might get more of those. But you can use like tongue depressors. I never see those where I go shopping. But or paint stirrers, or you know, any kind of wood that looks, and birch wood is quite nice wood actually. So I will do a herringbone pattern, and then I'll cut these off and look at some wallpaper. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'll start working on the interior. So I've got a bit of card that's left over from another project. Just put that in there. Score it with my nail, so I know how big it should be. Mark the bottom. Yep, it's nice. Right. Now, I said I would do it a border. So I have to draw in the border here. The other side as well. Now I like to miter the corner, so in this corner I'll just miter that. Oh, well, it's just a pencil mark. Miter that and that as well. I just like the way that looks. You don't have to do that. I just like that. So I'll do that, and then I have to decide, do I want it to do the herringbone pattern this way or this way down. I think down, because if I do it sideways, then I can only, well, maybe I could put into, it's going to be very, if I do one in the middle, let's see how wide it is. It's nearly 8 centimeters, so it would be, what is it, 8? It's like 7.9, so it would be here somewhere. So then I could have something like this. I need a one of these to give me the correct angle. Something like that, and then just follow, you know, I could cut those. And then one like that. I've just drawn some guidelines on here with my triangular ruler. I can't remember what that's called in English. Just to, you know, help me when I glue down the wood. Now, I was going to use this tool because I never use it to cut my wood. I always use a saw. And I thought, oh, well, I'm going to make it easy and use this to cut it. But the very first time I used it, let me show you. Maybe it does it again. There, see that? It splits it. Did it again. I tried it a couple of times, keep splitting the ends, and I tried it very slowly. So that's not working. So I'm not going to use that. So what I thought I'd do, you could use, and I think that actually would be easiest. A lot of you probably will have one of these. So you could just cut that. How long does it have to be? That size. I'll make a little stop so I cut them all the same size. Yeah, that's very doable. It's quite quick actually. Like that. I'll just put a little stop block on there. So if that's the size of the parquet, just put a little stopper there, stop block. So then you will have to cut loads of them. And right, so I've cut a few. And so here you can see the herringbone pattern. That one's upside down, but I'll do that later. And like I said, the first lines are just there as a guide to help you along. That one goes there. That one goes there. Then that one goes there. It's like a little puzzle. Of course, when you glue them, they won't move around, which is a lot easier. And you'll have to do little cuts here as well. So maybe I'll move it over a little bit. And this one. But that's how it goes. You just keep laying them. And then they're like a little puzzle. They go in. But it is helpful to draw those lines so you get the correct angle. And you have to keep following the line down, because if you go sideways, it looks strange. It's not so nice. But I do want to move this over a little bit like that. Well, I've just noticed that they are not all the same, the same width, which means that because like here, this one is a little bit thicker. That means that this bit has to be slightly longer because look, they're all the same length. But if I put that one here, it's missing a little bit. And that's because there's a couple of them here that are thicker and there's a few here that are thinner. So I'll have to adjust as I go along. It's okay. Just makes it a little bit more work. Okay, it's done. Now, there was a bit of a problem. Like I said, there's a difference in width of the steerers. So that created a problem. And what I mentioned at the beginning, that you have to keep it going straight, it didn't because of the different widths. But I'm not going to do it again. This one is straight. This one is not. This one is going a little bit out, but I'll just keep it anyway. I'm going to cut these off now so that I can, oh, I think I forgot one here. I'll just glue that in. And then I can glue the border on and just go. That's not long enough. Just need the one that's slightly longer. So, yeah, if I would do a really important, well, first of all, I wouldn't be using these, but if I would be doing a really nice room box, I don't think I would use this, or I could use them, but then I would have to make sure that they're all the same width. So, and I thought they were, I didn't really check, and they're not. So, now I'll cut that off, and I'll do it on the saw, the table saw. And yes, I will be cutting the paper off as well. I'll just glue a little bit extra on there with the edge or the border around it. Okay, I've glued some of the sticks onto the same paper as these are, so they are at the same height. And now I just have to cut them at a 45-degree angle and glue them on there. And then I have to cut the end off, and maybe I'll even put one here anyway, because it might look nicer. We'll see. So let's see, 45, this one goes. Now, if I'm going to do the bottom, I have to do that as well. So I have to cut it off first. Did I show you how to cut if you don't have a straight angle? Now, I already cut that, but if you don't have a straight angle, did I tell you how to do that? I don't know. I don't think I did. What you do is, okay, let me show you. You take a piece of wood that has a straight side, and you know, this one does. Then you line up on the back, you line up, oh, the other side, the piece of wood, pretend that has a ragged edge like that, so you cannot put that side against your fence, so you cannot cut it. It was all, if you remember, it was like that all around. So what I did was I attached this to the back of this piece of wood, and I lined it up. I lined this edge up with the center, so that was straight. Then I taped it down, put this against the fence, so this was my guide, and then cut it. And now I have a straight edge which is aligned with the center. So I'm going to do the same with the other side. I don't need this now because I have a straight edge, but that's how you do it. Now, let's see. Ah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so now I can glue them on. Perfect. Well, sorry, the camera angle was a bit weird and it wasn't in the shot. But anyway, I've sanded it, and I'm just putting some wax on it. Well, a lot actually. And I'll let that soak in. I always like waxed floors, and you can color it if you want, but I wanted to use a light floor this time. Now I did put in some sawdust into the holes there were a few gaps, there still are a few gaps into the holes, and I've tried this before. I am not really that keen on it. I just think it's easier to just do a good job and then fill it with wax afterwards. Now I sanded it by hand. It's much easier to use a sanding machine because, goodness me, it's quite a workout for your arms. I could have sanded it down a bit more, but it's quite smooth. So I'll let that soak in and then buff it up. Well, after making some fireworks, it's so funny. It's onto the interior of the room box. The floor is finished. It's waxed and I buffed it up a little bit. I like it. So I looked online for some wallpaper, and I was thinking 18th century wallpaper. I always like that. Now I found this, and I could have reduced the size, but I quite like it actually. So I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use the top. So I'll cut the bottom off. Put that in the back. I've printed 2 more. And for the sides. Now, like I said, I don't mind that it's big. I actually used quite a big paper in one of my in my canal house, in the dining room as well, and I really like it. So, and this is not going to be a real room anyway. It's just a a display box. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, I cut it to size, and then I'll use, I think 2, this is fairly thick paper, and I think I'll glue another one behind it to give it some strength and to hide this coarseness, because if you just glue it on there, straight on there, I think it will come through that it's not really nice and flat. So I'll use 2 layers. I did that on, I did that on the other room box as well, the pink one. So let me go and do that. Well, the interior is finished. I thought I filmed it. I didn't. But, it's just, I just glued it in and I put some weights on it. Still, the glue is still a little bit wet. And I used diluted wood glue to glue my paper on there. So, and of course the floor is waxed and it's in. So that's, I really like it actually. It's so, I don't know. It looks really, although yellow, but it's like a buttery yellow. yellow is not really my color, but in this case I really like it. And it also has some pinks in there, and you know, the birds and the blues. So yeah, I really like it. So what I thought is, I've got here, move that back a little bit, because I was thinking, what should I put in there? I've got this wonderful little Mark Gooch dressing table, and it's waiting for me to finish the bedroom, and it's supposed to go in there if it looks good. But it's such a pretty, delicate piece, and I've had this for a couple of years. Look at that. And I thought, for now, it could go in here, in the corner. And I also have this Michael Walton wall, set of wall, I don't know, what do you call it? Signed on the back. Shelves. Set of shelves. So that could go here. I have to check with the matting, because first, because the matting is in there, you won't be able to see it very well. So I'll just have to see where I put that. The shelves and the table are not exactly the same color, but that doesn't matter. I mean, I absolutely love this piece. It's so beautiful, as all of Mark Gooch's pieces are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. So I'll just put that here. And I was thinking maybe I should put a little chair here as well. And then, some dressing room items. I'll have to search for some. I don't know what I have. I have some pieces, but I've gathered some pieces, and I did find a few chairs that I've never used. And I've got these two, and both of them were made by my friend Ellie, and they have embroidered seats. Now, I do quite like the small one, but it's very small, although it does match the size of the table, of the dressing table. Is that one? It's a little bit lopsided. I have more. And I have this one, and I think because that matches the side of the shelves, and there's a little bit of decoration there as well, I could use that. And this is just I mean, it was a kit, but she did embroider the seat. And I do quite like the color of the embroidery, although I did like the yellow as well. But this, I think, would be better. It's not perfect, but, you know, you have to sometimes just do it what you have. Now I also have this beautiful box. Maria Keuker, Dutch miniaturist, who is always, you can always find her at the fairs. So I think that should go somewhere. You won't be able to see the marquetry on there. Nah. It's too big for the table. Well, just have to put it there. And then, of course, I have the really pretty glass bottles by Gert Velka, which I bought at the fair in Germany in May. Again, these are for the bedroom, the unfinished bedroom, and I think they would look absolutely gorgeous on the dressing table, and the colors are perfect as long as I can stand them upright. That's the only problem, because it's leaning back a little bit. I'll just have to fiddle with that. Maybe put some wax on there, on the bottom. A little bit. I have some wax on my fingers, so it's sticking to my fingers as well. Anyway, I don't want to damage the dressing table, the wood of the dressing table, so I have to be a little bit careful. But I'll fiddle with that a little bit. And then I've also got this gorgeous magnolia. And I thought, even though that's not the flower of the walls, I should put that on here as well. Anyway, this was a very, 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 very long video, and yeah, it's finished. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.